Shannon Vandermark, and this is the Happily Ever After Without Children podcast. Nice to have you back, subscribers, and a big welcome to any newcomers. Please subscribe. This podcast is for anyone who doesn't have children, and for anyone who loves someone who doesn't have children. It's for those who have struggled to conceive, but also for anyone who has found themselves realizing that, for whatever the reason, children of their own might not be in their futures. It is also for those steadfast in their decisions never to have children in the first place. Everyone holds a rightful place in this conversation. Everyone. And that means the men too. I am improving my marketing plan, or rather starting to have a marketing plan, with an aim to do some Facebook and Instagram live videos in the new year, a shiny new website, and more opportunities for you all to get more support from our community. The best way for the public to find this program is still through word of mouth, though, and by stacking up a pile of reviews on iTunes specifically. If you like what you hear, please take a moment to write a review on the Happily Ever After Without Children podcast page on iTunes. It needn't take more than a couple of minutes, and it won't cost you a penny or a pence. Please share details of this podcast on your social media page and subscribe if you hadn't already. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. Please subscribe. I love having subscribers. Now, here we are at episode 13. Can you believe it? I'm speaking with my friend Joe for this episode, and if you haven't listened to episode 12, in which I speak with Joe's husband Al, I highly recommend you check that one out too. Joe and Al have an incredibly romantic story of how they got together, both living their lives and basically perfecting themselves for the moment when they would get together. Just by chance and circumstance and the fact that neither of them was willing to settle down with a partner who was less than perfect, they didn't find one another until the chances of having their own children had become pretty slim. Joe met up with me for a glass of wine and a chat, and we chewed the chud about life in general, shot the shit about happiness, the unavoidable path of destiny, and the uncomfortable reality of our own mortalities. I hope you enjoy this episode, and I'll check in with you at the break. So, should we just start by cheering?
Yeah. Cheers, Shannon.
Cheers!
Good to see you.
What do you have there in your glass?
I've got some white wine. Mm-hmm. It's nice. It's chilled enough, this one.
You went through a couple bottles before we found you a chilled enough one, didn't we?
Yeah, we did. I mean, can I just add, I didn't drink a couple of bottles?
That's true. That is a good clarification.
Yeah.
I just took this Asahi out of the fridge. It is Friday fun day at my place of work, isn't it?
It really is.
Have you noticed nobody else is here anymore on a Friday at 6:47?
Fair enough.
It's nice.
As it should be.
As it well should be.
Yeah.
What time did you finish today?
I finished at 5:30.
That's really nice.
A good decent time to finish on a Friday.
Totally sensible.
Sensible, because I find as well, anyway, by the time it gets to 5 o'clock on a Friday, your brain's tired.
It is.
What are you going to really get done of use?
I totally agree. No, not much.
No.
It's not natural.
For fun times. It's for fun times.
I was telling you earlier about my sleep deprivation earlier in the week, and I was literally thinking, how do mothers do this? Do you know mothers that literally don't sleep?
Yeah.
How do they do that?
Well, I have, I've seen my sister go through it.
All three of your sisters.
Well, I suppose everybody I know that's got children has gone through sleeplessness, but some go through it worse than others.
Yeah.
And I remember my sister Marcella.
Yep.
With her daughter, initially, Tallulah really didn't sleep at all. I don't know how she held it together.
For how long does that, for a year?
I mean, I think it went on for, now it's my memory of it is a bit hazy, but it went on for quite a long time. And I think it just must be like torture. I mean, because how do you function? I have no idea how they cope. I really don't know.
I guess you're running on adrenaline because it's actually a human life as opposed to
Yeah, I mean, you have to. You've got no choice, do you?
No.
But other friends of mine as well have gone through huge amount, complete sleep deprivation for weeks, if not months.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I mean, I don't know.
How do you do it, mothers out there? We have spoken in the past about your kind of picture of what, grown-up life would be. And what do you want to just talk a little bit about where you are now and what kind of that journey, what were your visions along the way and how have they changed from when you were like little?
I don't think I had a very clear sense of it. But I was always clear that I wanted to meet someone.
Right.
And get married.
Yeah.
That was what I always felt clear about.
Yeah.
And I think I was probably, as I got older, I think I was probably a little bit more ambivalent about the idea of having children, in all honesty. And then as I got older, I remember friends of mine talking about feeling like they had this physical urge to have a child. Like a clear physical urge.
Yeah.
To be pregnant. And I always thought, wow, that's interesting. That's interesting because I don't have that.
Yeah.
There's no, that is not showing up for me at all.
Right.
And then, so my focus was more on, I suppose, looking to find the right person. And I didn't find the right person for a long time.
It took a while. Not the longest that I've ever heard. But
Really?
Yeah, I mean, there's people that don't find there's people who go through the wrong person before they meet the right person.
Well, yeah, this is it. There are so many people that, spend years with somebody that's not right for them, or, that relationship was right for a time, but then doesn't go the distance.
Yep.
So, I get that. It's like there's no sort of, these things aren't linear. But yeah, I just didn't meet the right person. And it wasn't for want of trying.
You put in a good effort.
I did. I was, I did internet dating and, I was always up for kind of meeting people, and I wasn't the sort of person that kind of shrank back and stayed kind of down about it for too long. I did get down about it at times. I really did, because it's really frustrating in life when you want something and you can't make it happen.
100%.
Yeah. So I went through all those experiences, but I think I learned a lot of resilience actually from that experience, because I did, you go through disappointment and, you want somebody to be that person for you, and then you discover they're not,
Yeah.
Or you think there's something real there and there isn't. And that's
Right.
so disappointing.
How long would it take you a while to realize that, or could you suss that pretty early?
Well, in retrospect, I would say, aside from maybe a couple of occasions, I would say that I always knew immediately that they weren't right.
Right.
And then sometimes stepped over that initial instinct.
Yeah.
And thought, okay, well, maybe I should give this a chance.
Yeah.
Or there were also scenarios where I met somebody and I felt like I really liked them, and then it turned out that they didn't feel the same way about me, and those at the time it felt really tough.
Yeah.
Now in retrospect, I'm extremely thankful.
Yeah.
Because I look back and I think, what I wouldn't, that person would not have been right for me.
Yeah.
It just seemed that way.
Yeah.
Anyway, so this is all a very sort of long way of saying that I just didn't meet the right person. And for me, having children was not so much of a driver that I was going to have children at any cost. So, I've heard of women who get into relationships, or they stick with somebody because they want to have children. And because they're getting stressed about how old they're getting.
Yeah.
And that maybe this is the last chance. And so this person kind of ticks the boxes.
Yeah.
And would be a good father. So let's just crack on.
Yeah.
You know?
Best phrase ever, by the way. Especially in terms of starting to try to have kids. Let's crack on.
Let's crack on. So for me, that was never a consideration. I would never in a million years have done that.
Yeah.
So I felt very clear about that. I did not want to be a single parent.
Mm-hmm.
And I it's funny, I've reflected on that, and I'm not entirely sure why I didn't want to be a single parent, because you know, I am a child of a single parent.
Right.
And she did an amazing job.
Well,
my mum
I
was,
agree.
Oh.
She did.
Thank you. And she's, you know, you've met my mum.
Yep,
She's
lovely.
My mum is brilliant.
Yeah.
And I could not fault her, and I am so blessed to have had her as my mum.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so she did brilliantly. So, and I didn't want for anything. So I don't know why I didn't want to be a single parent, but I didn't. So, you know.
Well, I say fair enough.
Yeah. It wasn't until I met Al.
Yes.
I met
Incidentally.
Yes.
Al, my husband's best friend.
Yeah. That I met the right person.
Yes.
And as you know, Al and I dated years ago, you know, for a few weeks.
Yes.
But at the time, the memory is all a little bit hazy for both of us. But at the time, the timing wasn't right.
Right.
And it just fizzled out after a few weeks, and there was no drama.
Right.
But, you know, just one of those things. And then, but when Al got in touch with me, like, God, it's only like 2.5 years ago.
Is that right?
Isn't that so weird?
Like, that's so weird, because I feel like I've known you way longer than that.
know.
And I didn't meet you immediately when you got back together with him.
Exactly.
And now you're already...
And now we're already married, and we've been married like
almost not
6 months.
Like, yeah, that's crazy. You guys don't waste any time.
We didn't muck about.
No. Why would you? Why would he? And why would you? But the two of you.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the thing, is that, you know, I think all of the experiences that I had before made me more clear when I met Al that Al was right for me.
Yep.
But, you know, so we met when we met I was 43.
The second time.
Yes, second time. And Al he would like me to say he was 42, because he likes to remind me.
Don't forget.
He's younger.
He's such a baby.
He's such a baby.
You're such a cradle robber. Just poor little helpless Al. And you just go in there with your older woman ways, your cougar ways.
My cougar ways. It's outrageous, isn't it?
It is. It's a little disturbing to watch from the outside. So yeah, young baby Al.
Yes.
So only 2.5 years ago.
Yeah.
So what were your conversations then about what to do about having a family, or is that?
I think we both sort of felt. I think we were both on the same page about it. So we did talk about it, and we both said that, you know, it's not that we wouldn't have liked to have had children, or that we don't want to have children, but we both kind of feel like do we really want to do that at this late stage of the game? You know, I think we both sort of felt a little bit like we just left it too late, and also I think from my perspective, I felt like, you know, I've finally met this great person.
Yeah.
So I don't want to run. You know, I think there are some women that would have felt like, okay, I've met this great person, and this feels so right. So should we just try very early on in the relationship? And I can completely get that, because let's face it, at 43, you know, potentially it's going to be very difficult anyway to get pregnant naturally. Yeah. But that was not on my agenda. Mm-hmm. I wanted to enjoy being with Al.
Yeah.
And I think that Al felt the same. And then I think that really has been the kind of the running theme, I suppose, that the conversations have been, well, maybe it would be really nice, and if it happens, it happens.
Yeah.
But at the same time, the context is, I mean, he's 45, I'm 46. Like, it's so unlikely.
I mean, it is. I guess it's not impossible, but
it's not impossible. But I mean, apart from anything, just actually getting pregnant at 46 is without, like, kind of some assistance is unlikely.
That's true. And then you've got the whole, what if you're actually successful?
And then what if you're actually
successful? And the sleep deprivation at this age.
I mean,
not that we're old, but, and like, you look amazing. Like, I can't believe I can't believe you're older than me by a couple years. But, that shit's going to age you.
That shit is going to age you.
But, I mean, like, yeah, you pass for 10 years younger, easy.
Oh my gosh, I love it.
But like, and as you get into your 40s, as you get it is energy levels. It'd be challenging, but yeah.
It really would. And I think, we both feel a little bit like if we don't kind of want to block it happening by saying, I don't think either of us feel strongly enough about it to say, I do not want it to happen.
Right.
Because I think if by some kind of miracle it did, I think maybe it could be great.
Of course.
Yeah,
of course it would be.
But it does also really, the thought of it also does scare me. I have to be honest about that. I do also find it scary because of the age perspective. And also because, like, as I was saying to you earlier, this is the happiest time of my life. I feel very settled in a way that I never was before.
Yeah.
I'm very happy with Al. I don't mean to be kind of, what's the word, gushy.
After 6 months of marriage and only being with him for 2.5 years, I think you're allowed to be a bit gushy. But that's not gushy. That's honest and lovely.
Yeah. I'm very happy with Al. And, we have a great relationship and it's great to be married to him and I'm really enjoying married life and I really couldn't hope for anything better.
Aww. And you know what I find like so great about that is that you both have wanted it for so long. Like I know that Al has wanted to find you for a long time. And to have all of your expectations met is so nice.
It's so nice. And it actually in many ways feels quite miraculous.
Oh, yeah.
To meet somebody who I feel is so completely right for me, who I just don't doubt in any way. I'm just sort of 100% clear that it feels like I was meant to be with him.
Yeah.
Yeah. And all roads kind of led to this. That's how I feel.
Which is a very kind of peaceful place to be.
Which is a very peaceful place to be, exactly.
Now that you've been with Al, for as long as you've been with him, did you get people, when you got together, asking you these questions about, so, you guys thinking about kids?
I don't think so, not really, because I think that probably people are kind of more conscious that, it's a delicate matter, isn't it, at the best of times. But, when you are in your 40s, that's even more delicate.
Yeah. So what do you think about the topic that we're kind of talking about just the topic of having kids or thinking what you're having kids, or what did you think when I first started talking to you about this project, about the topic? Why were you interested in speaking about it?
I suppose I feel like now that I'm married, now that I'm in this stable relationship, I think it has kind of sort of dawned on me that now would be that sort of natural time where you'd start thinking, okay, I've got this great relationship and now the most natural thing is for us to turn it into a little family.
Yeah.
And that option is not really there in the same way that it would be when you're getting married at that more typical time of life.
Right. Yeah.
So I suppose it's just got me thinking about it. And I think the other thing that's made me think more about it is that my mum last year, as you know, moved to London, and so that she's now around the corner from me.
Yep.
And she's had some health challenges.
Yes.
This year. You know, so she's had breast cancer, and you know, for me, my mum is now a priority in my life, because she's been such an amazing mum to me. I want to be there for her 100%. So I've been there with her for, you know, like most of the hospital appointments, you know, just there for her. And then it started me thinking, who's going to do that for me?
Right. That was, yeah. So who's going to do that for you?
So then I started to get the fear.
And then you're like, get a baby in here.
And then I'm like, shit.
Yeah.
You know, it is a kind of, that sort of parent-to-child relationship is that really unique bond.
Yeah.
Where I could not do anything but be there for my mum. That for me is there's no question mark there. You know? But the reality is that, you know, me and Al will do that for each other as we get older. But as we get really elderly, well, who knows? Who knows? You know, one of us is going to die first.
Well, probably.
Probably. You know, unless we sort of go out on some sort of suicide pact.
That would be really romantic.
Yeah,
Thelma and Louise
maybe
styly.
That's the thing. Thelma and Louise styly.
Yeah.
But, you know, the reality is everyone else will, you know, there will be people that care, but I won't be anybody else's priority. I don't think. Well, I don't know. That's grim to say, isn't it? I've got great family, and
you've got tons of
amazing
nieces
and I've
and
got
nephews between the two of you.
Yeah. And my sisters are all younger than me. Maybe they can look out for me.
Pretty sure Buster's going to be looking after both of you.
Yeah. But you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's different.
I do, yeah. And I think that's a concern for a lot of people as we get older, and just kind of realizing that you're missing that unconditional love. But I guess if you're single, then that can be even more daunting.
Oh my God, I can't even imagine. I cannot even imagine. That must be so tough. So tough for people who are also single.
But then, like, it's a long time to go between now and then. Who knows what's going to happen?
I think at this sort of point of life, you sort of start to realise that, you know, we sort of always come out with, oh, you know, life is short. But in other ways, life is long, you know? There's all these different phases of life. And, you know, we're going to have a phase where we're elderly, hopefully. You know, when we become kind of quite sort of vulnerable.
Yeah. And let's hope that phase is the shortest.
Yeah. Let's hope so.
I used to always just say, like, I'm just going to be knitting and, like, drinking whiskey and probably taking drugs. But then you realize, and that was literally what I thought. Like,
yeah.
I mean, I'll just do it my way. I'll just be wasted all the time.
Yeah.
And then my grandfather got sick. This is like years and years ago, before I moved over here. And I said that to my mom, because my Grumps used to love a cocktail.
Oh, yeah.
A Manhattan. And I just said to my mom, I was like, why don't you just, because she was looking after him. I was like, what? He's so unhappy. Why don't you just give him, like, Manhattans, and just, that's all he wants. But you can't, because you're on all these other medications. And you just kind of go, how important are all those medications? Like,
at that point of life, maybe just get on the Manhattans.
I kind of think that.
Yeah.
But what happens when you have kids looking after you, and you're like, just give me the Manhattan? They're like, no, Mom.
Yeah,
or
take
Dad,
your meds.
Take your meds.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they make me feel itchy.
Yeah.
Too bad.
Yeah, because we want to keep you alive.
Because we want to keep you alive. We can't lose you.
Yeah.
It's interesting, isn't it?
It is. Yeah, it really is.
I'm going to take a short break here just to explore a theme that I have recognized in scripting out these episodes. There is a certain language, a negative language, to the path less traveled. Things like, I lost the baby. I had a negative pregnancy test. Our IVF cycle failed. Our fertility treatments have been unsuccessful. I've left it too late. I suppose it's helpful to be honest with the experiences I've mentioned so that they can accurately describe the feelings associated. But whenever I've been writing out those phrases, I feel as though sometimes the way we describe our fertility stories places a lot of the blame on us. It's unfortunate because I would say that very little of our fertility story is within our control. We can try and find and settle down with that right partner at peak baby-making age. We can take all of the right vitamins. We can manage to feel sexy at the right time of month. We can splurge on some Chinese herbs and acupuncture. We can even spend tens of thousands of pounds and dollars and everything and anything else to pay a surrogate or pay for a donor egg or donor sperm. We can relax and eat right, quit drinking and smoking to give our pregnancy the best chance ever, but it still might not happen. So I know it's a little hokey to suggest changing the way we frame these statements, but maybe we can just give it a little bit of thought and maybe be a bit kinder to ourselves in the process. Language is power, after all, and how we speak and how we frame things dictates how we feel about them. So just worth a thought, I think. Anyway, I hope you enjoy this next part, and I'll check in with you on the other side. There was something that you said, I left it too late, that I wanted to talk about just the way that we talk about the stuff, because to me, left it too late, and I know that I've said it like that, but it's kind of a negative connotation, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
And it is. What's a different way that we could say that? I don't know. I feel like, do you feel like there's a kind of a script that's written?
Oh my gosh, that's such an interesting question, because that's I've just realised from you saying it that, yeah, I'm tapping into that narrative about women who don't have children, or, you know, whose life has taken a different path.
And what it insinuates, which I know you don't mean, but is that it's a lesser path.
Yes, it is, exactly. And it also intimates that you get to this point and you feel huge regret.
Right, like there's this moment.
Oh my God, I forgot to have children.
I left it too late. It's almost like you left the baby on the street.
Yeah.
I left it too late and I never fed it.
Yeah. Whoops. Whoopsie, I didn't have children.
But I was having fun in my 20s while the baby was out there on the street. It's weird, isn't it?
Yeah, it is weird. It is weird. And I think the reality is that we just our lives don't all follow that more traditional path of, you know, you meet somebody in your late 20s, early 30s, then you get married and then you have a family. It's just,
yeah,
you know, not everybody's life goes that route. And yeah, I mean, I don't even know what to say about that, really. That's just the way it is.
In having these conversations with people, it's interesting because I kind of have these general questions I ask everyone. And I always expect that people are going to answer in a certain way, or like answer more in alignment with the way that I think, right? And they never do. And what I'm finding is the biggest thing is, but what about what everybody else thinks? And pretty much everyone I talk to is like, I mean, what does it matter? Whereas like with me, that was always a huge thing.
Really?
Like, what are other people thinking about? I'm failing. I tried to get pregnant, but I failed. Or I tried to stay pregnant and I failed. So it's interesting that there are ideas that we all are aware of, but have such different personal reactions to.
Yeah.
And it also goes to show that I'm choosing really strong women to talk to, because We shouldn't really care what people think about that narrative.
No.
If I were to ask you, is it possible to be happy without children? Is that kind of a baffling, absurd question?
No, not baffling and absurd, because I think it really depends. You know, I do think it's harder for some than others.
But based on your life experience, would you just say...
But based on my life experience, it's in no way dependent.
There's nothing lacking.
No, there isn't. I wonder if I will start to feel like there's something lacking.
What do you mean, like maybe when you get grandparent age or something?
Yeah, maybe further down the line when, you know, my friends are becoming grandparents and all that sort of stuff, or, you know, my friends, they've got their grown-up children and they're sort of going off to their children's weddings, or, you know, doing all that sort of stuff, I can imagine would be really lovely. I'm not really into the idea of the small kid phase. You know, that sounds like a massive pain in the arse to me. But
Al, that would be Al's job at that point. You just take them shopping when they get older.
Yeah, exactly. But, you know, once they're kind of getting older and you know, then you're kind of reaping the rewards of all that work you've put in. I think that must be so great.
Yeah.
That must be so lovely.
What is your number one kind of nugget of joy about not having children in your life?
Being able to come and meet you here today, just, you know, head off from work. I've had a good day at work and I get to come and hang out with you.
Yeah.
And then I get to go home to Al and I'm in the knowledge that I have this lovely weekend ahead.
Yeah.
Of time to hang out and be relaxed and have fun with Al and, you know, see my mum on Sunday. It's nice.
What do you have planned this weekend?
So I'm just hanging out with the husband tomorrow.
Yeah.
No real plans.
That's nice.
That will be really nice. And then on Sunday, me and my mum and Al are going to go and have brunch.
Oh, lovely.
And then me and my mum are going to go off and have a little bit of a wander around, do a bit of shopping maybe.
Nice.
Yeah. That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. Pretty low key.
It's pretty nice to just, I mean, at our age, I am a couple of years younger than you, but generally at our age, our friends have very different weekends planned.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, all around children.
Like non-stop.
Non-stop, yeah.
From 7 a.m. till... And none of that is me time, really.
No.
They might like squeeze a run in there, or
Yeah.
swim or something.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of me time.
Yeah, it's a very different sort of shape of life, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. And the other question that I ask everyone is there anything today that you feel you are missing out on not having children?
No, honestly. Not right now. I really don't. I felt then that I ought to have something.
No, not at all.
But, you know, actually I don't.
But I also think that's why it's so important that I talk to you about it, and that other people hear you talk about it, because it's just a matter of perspective. And like you said, you know, it can be harder for some people to kind of shift that perspective based on things they've gone through. But it is possible.
Yeah.
There isn't always something missing.
No.
When you choose a different path, or when you find yourself on a different path.
No, I think so. I feel, you know, quite, what's the word? I suppose, I think your life goes the way it goes, and we sometimes have this sort of feeling, you know, it's like a little bit of a sliding doors type scenario, that we feel like if we'd made a different turn there, here or there, our life could have turned out so differently.
Sliding Doors, the amazing film from 20 years ago?
Yeah, probably 20 years ago.
Little known film in the States, I think.
Really?
Well, It's Gwyneth Paltrow, isn't it?
Yeah.
So maybe it's a great film. Anyway.
Yeah. But yeah, you know, we sort of feel like our life could have been different, but I don't believe that that's true. I think, you know, your life goes how it goes, and it is an illusion to think it could have gone another way. And so I feel clear that I didn't always feel like this at all, but I now feel like my life has gone on the path that it was kind of destined to go on, I suppose.
Yeah.
And, you know, getting myself torn up about how things might have been different is, you know, there ain't no cheese down that tunnel.
What? Is that a thing?
Yeah.
There ain't no cheese down that tunnel, Mousy. Yeah. Or just not even Mouse.
Yeah.
Just for anyone.
For anyone.
That is brilliant. I haven't heard that one.
Haven't you? I love that one. Like, don't bother going down that tunnel. There ain't nothing there for you.
But I don't think you can say it any other way than you did. Like, I can't just be like, I don't believe there's any cheese down that tunnel. You've got to say
ain't no cheese.
Ain't no cheese down that tunnel. Yeah. Well, I suppose also it's a general life philosophy of not looking at the closed doors and being grateful for the door you're walking through, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It is. But I do just want to say that I do really recognise that, you know, although I don't feel that way around children, there are other things in life that I struggle with more and grapple with more, that give me more pain, and that it's much harder to have that sort of kind of philosophy with and take that sort of philosophical approach.
Do you mean, what are these things? These are things that you thought that you wanted, or that you assumed you'd have?
Yeah, there are things that I've found it harder to sort of let go of. I suppose the point I'm making is that I don't think that it's that I have kind of, you know, done a particularly good job with getting to a good state of mind about all of this. I just feel like I think it's just life that for some people that need to have children and that drive is stronger and more important than for others, and so for others it is more painful,
of course,
to you know, get to that place where they feel philosophical and that they're kind of able to let it go. I really get it.
What have you struggled with that's similar, do you think?
I think that, you know, when I was sort of, you know, things have worked out so nicely for me now. It's kind of funny to sort of think back to it. But, you know, when I was like trying to meet somebody and having relationships that weren't working out, that caused me a lot of pain. You know, and that was really difficult. And then that in those times where I saw other people, you know, happy with people and getting married and their relationships working out, that was brutal.
How did you deal with all of those weddings? Like, were there any really close friends who told you they were engaged that you... Because this is another question I usually ask, is how do you respond to when people tell you you're pregnant, but you probably don't have that... It doesn't kick you in
No, it doesn't.
But did you have that when people would tell you they were engaged? Did it feel like you lost a friend?
God, yeah. Yeah, completely. Not, you know, not with everybody, but I did have those times where I felt like, you know, it's awful to admit it, where I would just feel so consumed by, I want that and I don't have it, that I couldn't feel happy for them. I just couldn't.
Yeah.
So it's just that was my thing. Having children wasn't my thing. That was my thing.
Yeah.
And so I 100% relate to those women who want this so badly and really struggle when people around them are getting pregnant. I mean, I so understand that.
Did you get to a place before you got back together with Al that you did make peace with it? Or do you feel like that was always something that was going to be a void?
Do you mean that I was always going to feel bad about it and struggle with it?
about not having someone? Or did you ever get to a place where you were wholly like, I can see a life where I'll be happy without a mate?
No, actually, I don't think I got to that place. And it's an interesting one because I think sometimes there's that temptation to be like, you know, to try and sort of tie that story up neatly. Like, actually, I came to this place of peace about it and I made peace with my singledom, and then he showed up.
Well, that's the Hollywood ending, isn't it?
Exactly. And actually, that wasn't the case. That said, I definitely had, you know, as I got older, I think I'd got to a place where I felt like, you know, I think I'll meet someone. I think there was more of that. I had more of that sort of upbeatness about it, and faith that, you know, I'd sort of started to have this sense that, you know, my life hasn't gone the sort of traditional path that perhaps other people's have, in that sense of, you know, when you meet someone. But I sort of felt like I had this little, you know, this feeling inside me that actually, do you know what, I think it's going to probably be all right.
Right.
And then sometimes I'd have times when I thought, oh yeah, actually maybe I won't meet anybody. But then I think I had more of that feeling of that sense of, you know, yeah, it's going to be okay. And I'm grateful to my past self for trusting my intuition about it.
I was going to say, you're grateful to your intuition.
I am. I really am. I really am, because I knew.
I heard somewhere that your intuition is your guardian angel whispering to you.
Nice. Oh, that's
nice.
So nice. I love that. That's lovely.
Like, who are we to tell them to be quiet?
Yeah.
Shh.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to listen to my ego.
Yeah. I mean, hang on. I'm trying to listen to my mind. Suss all this stuff out.
Yeah.
If you wouldn't mind just piping down.
I'm trying to analyze everything. And I'm sure I can journal it out.
Yeah.
I'm through 4 volumes now. I'm getting there. It's been 15 years. Shh. Yeah. No, well, you're a strong person with a strong sense of self, I think. And
you think so? That's nice to hear.
Yes, of course. You're inspirational.
Aw, thank you. That's so nice.
Are.
I really don't think of myself that way.
You are.
At all.
Look, I bet your sisters would disagree, and your close friends.
Oh, I mean, I don't know. That's really nice. Thank you.
Well, it's good to have a healthy view of the world, but with honesty about how it's not always easy.
Yeah, true.
Well, that's kind of what I wanted to talk about. Was there anything else that you...
No, I think that's it. It's been great. Thanks, Shannon.
Yeah, it's been lovely, and I'm excited to go have some curry now.
Yeah, let's go eat.
Thank you for listening. Again, if you haven't listened to episode 12, in which I chat with Joe's hubby Al, please do. I think you'll really enjoy it. Now, do it now. Well, if you have time. Please join the Happily Ever After community on Instagram, Facebook, or Twitter if you search Happily Ever After Podcast. Surf on over to my new website, provided to you by my generous patrons, www.happilyeveraftercoach.com. Thank you so much, patrons. Your monthly donations are going directly into my website so that I can build a place for people to hang out, visit, check in, interact, and really feel part of our community. If you like the show, please help me to promote it in any way you can. You can also write a quick review on iTunes. That would be incredibly helpful and free. More reviews help make the show more visible to anyone searching for this topic. It's some algorithm thing. Another way to help is to become a patron. Go to the Happily Ever After Without Children page on Patreon. That's patreon.com/Happily Ever After Podcast to make a monthly contribution so that I can remain an independent producer and so that you can get exclusive perks. And finally, please share details of this podcast with your network of friends and family. You never know who else might be suffering and could really use a light at the end of the tunnel, so to speak. This is your host, Shannon Vandermark, and I thank you for listening.